This is my version of a signature dish from the Hawaiian Sheraton Hotel back in the 1970s. I've changed the sauce to be less cloyingly sweet and include passion fruit in it now. I use a better type of banana and I dust it with one of the tertiary seasonings from Volume 3 of my cookbook series to produce a really great appetizer that's especially well suited to pairing with a rum cocktail.
Add the orange juice to the pan, along with a tablespoon of sugar and a good dollop, a tablespoon and a half of marmalade, and we'll begin bringing this up to a simmer. And you just keep stirring this on a medium heat and reduce it until it becomes thick. The butchery for the chicken breasts here is simple. Get rid of this little flap here, and you've got an end here that's too small. We're going to get rid of that. Okay, now just take a knife. It's always difficult to work around the camera. The camera is between me and the food, so I can't really see what I'm doing here. Okay, run the knife this way through it. And you get two halves like this, and then we're going to pound them out. You pound it out flat using little taps. Don't try to do it all at once. Now, and take one of these little bananas and peel them. Now, once you have the chicken rolled out, take the banana, wrap the ham around it, season it with a little bit of Angostura bitters. Just a few drops is all you need. Make sure it's spread evenly. You put it down on the chicken and you roll up the chicken around it. And keep tucking it in as you roll. Take a couple of toothpicks and you run through it to secure it. So one like this, one like this. Meanwhile, on the back burner, the sauce is getting thicker, but it's not quite there yet. But as you can see, it's quite a bit thicker than it was. Should work out timing wise, should be just about right. And the breading for this is very, very simple. Take an egg and just beat it loosely. It doesn't have to be homogeneous. Enough. Coconut. This is unsweetened coconut in a large bowl. And push this off for a second here. Got our chicken that's been rolled up, and I'm not going to dredge it in flour. I'm just going to sprinkle flour onto it like this. It's enough. Then it goes into the egg. Course, and into the coconut. Now just let it sit here for a couple minutes, 3 or 4 minutes before we deep fry it. Yeah, the oil is at temperature. We carefully put this in. Begin counting the time. Make sure you turn it over once in a while too, so that it cooks on all sides. Unless you're using a large scale deep fryer, of course, then it'll cook on all sides anyway. Continue cooking this. When the time is up, take it out. Don't make the mistake of trying to cut it right away. It's still cooking. It's still got plenty of internal heat going on there. Normally, I would split open passion fruit and add that to this sauce right now. That is so often is the case. You can't get everything you want in Russia when you want it. Usually passion fruit is around. It's not around right now. So I'm going to use some Monian passion fruit syrup. It won't have the lovely little green bits in it, but the flavor will be there. And you can do the same thing if you can't get passion fruit. Now the sauce is quite thick. I'm going to let it thicken up just a tiny bit more. And we're almost ready to plate up here. When it comes to plating this up after it's rested, the first step, of course, is to remove the toothpicks. Get those out of there. And first, get rid of these little end pieces. That's a snack for the cook. You can't use this on the plate. These little end pieces are nothing. You can see that it's okay inside. Now you can take and make a diagonal cut so that it will stand up. Now while it's still on the cutting board, I'm going to add just a little pinch of the Hungarian tertiary additive right over the banana from volume 3 of my cookbook series. You don't have to do this, but this adds really nice touch and really makes the flavor much more complex. So now this will get put down on top of the sauce.
I'm very pleased to announce the release of Volume 3, The Focus on Food Chemistry. I want to clear up a few things about these 3 volumes. First, they all contain completely different information. There's no duplication, they're not revisions. When I wrote Volume 1, I had 2.5 years of YouTube videos to cover. People had been asking me for the printed list of ingredients for all of those dishes, and so I obliged. There are recipes with stepwise directions and many tips offered throughout, as well as an extensive history of Russian cuisine over the last 1,000 years, but Volume 1 is very different from Volume 2 and 3. In Volumes 2 and 3, I only had about 9 months of YouTube recipes to cover in each, so I was able to provide stepwise directions for everything. In Volume 2, I included a lot of additional information about cooking and some simple examples of flavor chemistry to set the stage for Volume 3. While Volume 2 hopefully got you thinking about some of the processes that go on in cooking and how flavors are expressed and sensed at the molecular level, the topic was painted with pretty broad strokes to make it easy to digest, pun intended. Volume 3 is a milestone of the series, in which I have included an entire introductory course in food chemistry, which is why Volume 3 is about 70 pages longer than Volume 2. And if you just want the recipes, that's okay too. You don't have to read the first few chapters, but if you've ever been curious about what influences tastes and flavors and the rationale for deciding cooking times and temperatures and why things taste different when they're combined in different ways, this book will answer many of those questions. It also paves the way for Volume 4, which will be next year. I'm pleased to announce a new, completely different type of cookbook. If you watch my channel regularly, you know that the recipes I present are usually centered on meat or seafood and seldom vegetarian dishes. This new book is a departure from that norm. Only vegetables, fruits, eggs, and dairy are used in dozens of recipes here. The key here is that these recipes don't taste like typical vegetarian food. This isn't a bunch of salads and bean sprouts wrapped in pita bread. These are completely satisfying, hearty dishes that use the science of food chemistry to produce meat-like aromas and flavors. But don't worry, there's no weird chemicals involved, just ordinary foods and spices that you can get in any grocery store. This really is an entirely new approach. These are flavorful, filling meals produced by a distinctive cooking method and unexpected combinations of ingredients. Once you see how it's done and understand the method, you can apply these preparations to some of your own recipes and transform them into vegetarian dishes too. Also look for my cocktail book, Cocktails of the South Pacific and Beyond, Advanced Mixology, available through Amazon online. If you want to know more about my adventures as a chef around the world and have some great laughs along the way, be sure to check out the video tour of my book, 40 Years in One Night. It's up on YouTube right now. Click the link.